Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about empathy maps and how do you document them. Empathy map is a really powerful tool if you want to understand or have deep insights into the way the users of your products or services think. So here you actually empathize with them, you synthesize the information that you have with you, and you use them to develop some deep insights. Okay, so far in the journey of design thinking, you'd have covered what is design thinking, what are the various steps in the design thinking, and we are in the empathy phase. In this phase, you would have understood who the stakeholders of your project are, who are the primary, who are the secondary, and the tertiary stakeholders of your value chain or the challenge that you're facing. You would have also understood, you would have also done so far the empathy interview with all these stakeholders and gathered the information in the way I've shared with you. I've also shared with you the empathy interview process and the way to conduct an empathy interview. Today, we're going to use that information that you've gathered in the empathy interview to make an empathy map. So, we're going to use one very interesting example. We're going to use an example of innovation in HR. Okay, recently I did a project on bringing innovation in HR. I've done some interesting interviews with various stakeholders. I'm going to share with you some information over here and help you to make an empathy map. So in empathy map, there are 6 sections. There is a think and feel section. There is a hear section. There is a do section. There is a see section, and there are the pains and the gain section. Remember, in design, in the empathy map, what you are documenting is the sensory aspect of the user. How he sees, feels, perceives, does, behaves when there is a challenge with respect to that particular project. Yeah. So now what we're going to use that example of innovation in HR and see what kind of information comes in. So let's share with you the first thing in the think and feel section. So in the think and feel section, what comes in? Now remember, think and feel section is something that your user thinks, is either good or bad. Probably what is most important thing is what is bugging him, and probably what is there in his mind, that will help. If he does that, it will help him overcome those challenges. And you need to start documenting over here. So I'm going to share with you some post-its which I have written, and that falls in these categories. The first category is the think and feel. Some of the users, some of the employees, the one employee I've interacted with, she says that if innovation could be a part of the KPIs. Now, interesting, isn't it? We'll not go into the background of why she said that, but if it could be a part of the KPIs. The second, managers are just telling but not showing the way. Now, this is interesting. They're just telling you, please innovate, but they're not showing you the way. The third thing is there is a lot of pressure to innovate. The person feels that there is a lot of pressure to innovate. This is what comes under thinks and feel. Now, in the here aspect, you are the leader, and your managers are telling you, listen, you are the leaders, and you need to show the way to your team. Now, let's not get into the depth of it, but this is what he has heard, and he's telling you. And also he hears do whatever it takes to innovate. Your managers are telling you, do whatever it takes to innovate. Very clear. HR is simply, he is also hearing that HR is simply not able to drive. This is interesting actually. Now, in the do section, you have to understand what this particular user does during the course of the day. And in the course of the day, what is he doing that is helping in that particular challenge, or particularly in this case, in innovation at HR? What is the kind of work this person is doing, And in that work, how is it supporting innovation? You start documenting, start listening and document. Now she says, sorry, is that we are advising for innovation drive. Nothing is happening. So she says, listen, we are telling all the functions, advising for innovation drive, but nothing is happening. There's only meetings, sharing and sharing of updates and follow-ups. There's nothing beyond that. So this is what is happening over here. Now we come to the C section. In the C section over here, we need to understand what are you as a user seeing innovation, how is innovation happening in around you. So that's how, as a sensory thing, how is innovation happening across functions in your vertical or not happening. So for example, she tells us that very few are innovating, she says there are very few people who are innovating in the organization. And in competition, she says that most of the work is in the competition is automated already. So some very interesting information that has been gathered over here. Okay. Now in this section, which is called the pain section, remember, we need to understand what are some of the challenges the user is facing in developing capability towards innovation or in driving innovation or in anything related to innovation. Now, what's the challenges that he or she is facing? Now, she tells us that, previous experience of sharing ideas has been very painful. Now, there has been instances where we tried to drive innovation, it has been very painful. We never got the kind of information that or support that we needed to have. We never got that. Do not know how to proceed if we have an idea. So that is also another thing. So some of the things she said is that listen, I really don't know how to proceed. If I have an idea, somebody comes up an idea, how do I take it forward? Something very interesting. Now, gains. So what are some of the good things, some success stories or some of the plus points in your organization that is helping in drive innovation, particularly with respect to this project. But here you need to document what are some of the success stories or what some of the facilities that you have that can support you in the activity. So with respect to the project on innovation at HR, it says that organization is open to external training. And there is a considerable level of interest and investment in terms of time and space. Right? So if you see this is an empathy map. So if you see this, there is an amazing level of information that has come to you. You can empathize with the user, you can synthesize the information that's available, and then use it. Now, if you remember one thing, you need to understand there is a lot of pressure to innovate. But this could be this is an assumption, but you need to challenge this assumption also. So you will start hunting for information. Is there actually a lot of pressure to innovate? Find out. Then there are some people are saying that managers are just telling us and not showing the way. But how is the general behavior in times of managers? So look at that. Look at some of the sentences. Look at some of the ways. And if you start exploring, mind you, you'll start getting some very interesting information. I can assure you, I've seen my personal experiences that the kind of information that is available here is amazing. When you come here, when you have this kind of depth, and remember, this is just not one sheet. This is the information that you have got from one HR person. But you're going to interview HR, so you're going to interview 3-4 HR team members, the HOD, plus you'll also be interviewing the various stakeholders like functional heads. How do they see, or how innovation at HR, because they are also one of the primary or secondary stakeholders in the project of innovation at HR. So if you would be also interviewing a lot of these people, so when you, after having done some 20-30 interviews, remember the kind of information that you get. 20-30 means you would have around 60 ideas on what people are thinking about innovation at HR. It's not funny. Look at the pains, around 50, 20, 30, 40, 50 pain areas you are identifying. And that's not funny. All these information can be used to make your customer, make your organization very innovative, particularly when it comes to this particular assignment. So, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Empathy Map, there is no tool that can be as powerful, as wonderful in developing customer insights as this. And I probably say, use these, and you need to prepare at least as many empathy maps as interviews. So you need to interview at least 20-30 people. So you would have possibly 20-30 empathy maps, and that's a wealth of information. So thank you so much. Do share the in the video how you liked it, and your comments will be appreciated on that. Thank you so much.